Hi, everybody. Meteorologist Joe Chaffee on this Wednesday as we set up the onshore flow that's coming into southern New England, the Hudson Valley in New Jersey, into eastern Pennsylvania, down into Delaware. You can see all the wind barbs are pointing either east or southeast, so that's going to really put a limit as to how warm temperatures are going to get today. Also, we have some cloud cover. We had low clouds come in from off the ocean overnight. I was a little surprised at how much came in. And then we were also having to deal with some clouds from the west. And if you look here on the map, you can see there are radar echoes out in western Pennsylvania. So a couple of bands of showers there. Nothing widespread. Gets a little bit more widespread as you move up into upstate New York and western New York from Buffalo over to about Rochester along the shores of Lake Ontario. Also getting some showers on the eastern shores. On up in north central New York State. Kind of a busy day, severe weather-wise, I think. We've got a large area of marginal risk for severe weather going from Kansas and eastern Nebraska down to up to southern Minnesota, Wisconsin, extending into Indiana and Ohio, with a slight risk indicated for northeastern Kansas, northwest Missouri, southeastern Nebraska, Iowa, southern Minnesota, into parts of southwestern Wisconsin and the northern half of, well, the northern third anyway, of Illinois. And just want to check, we'll check out the risks for the next couple of days and see what the Storm Prediction Center is saying from the National Weather Service, and extending that slight risk further east into eastern Indiana, Ohio, on into southeastern Michigan. Also an area of slight risk over in North Texas, northeastern near the Texas-Oklahoma Panhandle, extending eastward from there. And as we check out for Friday, because Friday there might be some showers and maybe a thunderstorm in the east. No risk for severe. The risk area shifts from Tennessee into Arkansas and expands across Oklahoma into northern Texas and on up into southern, extreme southern Kansas and Missouri. So kind of a little bit more activity with respect to severe weather. And when we look at the radar this morning, we've got some showers here, the showers to the north, also some showers to the south in Virginia, into North Carolina, back over into West Virginia. This is the area of shower and thunderstorm activity that works well with the severe weather risk today. And you can see there are already some downpours and thunderstorms occurring over parts of the upper Mississippi Valley and back up into the Dakotas. And further west, we've got some precipitation into Montana and Wyoming. Also some precip in the Pacific Northwest, although it has calmed down quite a bit with respect to what's going on in California. Now, on the satellite loop, watching, you can't really pick out the low clouds too well. They are there, but they're kind of broken up a little bit. But then there's more cloud cover coming in from the west. We're kind of getting squeezed here. We've got this onshore flow because of the big high that's east of Nova Scotia. So you're getting these winds coming in from off the ocean. And at the same time, you've got a weather front that's pressing eastward that's kind of squeezing all this together. I don't think we're going to get much precip out of this as far as the area of focus for me in the Northeast is concerned. But we are going to see some chances here for some rain starting from tonight and probably on and off into Friday. Out in the west, yesterday's storm is now inland, and that energy is moving up into the northern plains. You can see it here. There's also a tight little swirl there off the Pacific Northwest coast that's moving eastward, and it's beginning to swing some bands of rain on up into the Pacific Northwest. You can see that California and most of the Southwest is fairly dry. So let's take you forward on the what the models are doing. And you can see that squeeze play here with the high sitting over Nova Scotia, and then you've got this low that's moving across the Great Lakes, weak one, and then this next system that's generating the severe weather today in the upper Mississippi Valley with low pressure in northern Kansas. And here's that next arm coming into the Pacific Northwest. Now, as we move into Thursday, so there's that little band of rain in the Northeast. And now you have the second system that's approaching. And at this point now, the onshore flow is relaxing, and we have a bit of a warm front that we're going to have to see how that plays out. Warm fronts can either come flying through when you least expect them, but more than likely they tend to get hung up, so that might impact temperatures tomorrow. We've got some activity of rain and snow going on in the west, and even a little bit of snow in the upper Midwest there being shown by the GFS today. And moving it along. So that front kind of moves on through here Friday morning. We'll get a couple of showers or a thunderstorm Thursday night and a Friday morning, and that's done. That next system in the Pacific Northwest drops southward and into North Texas. Now, I know there's a few of you that are, been talking about the drought situation, especially up into Colorado and particularly northwestern Colorado. But it looks like most of the attention here is going to be further east in that state. And there is the prospect of some heavier rain in eastern Colorado and then going northwest up into Wyoming with some mountain snows, of course. And here's that southern outbreak of severe weather that we're going to see with respect to Friday that was indicated by the Storm Prediction Center. Now, that low is going to move eastward, and by Sunday morning, actually during Saturday night, rain is already moved in according to the GFS, and it rains pretty much all day Sunday into Sunday night, and then the low begins to pull away. The models are faster with this weather system, so it comes in quicker and goes out quicker. So weather conditions may actually improve on Monday, but definitely Saturday will be the better of the 2 weekend days, although it won't be picture perfect as we'll be dealing with probably some sun early and some arriving clouds. And with this low going by to the south, it's going to mean for a chilly ocean wind, raw conditions here on Sunday with the rain, and temperatures probably no higher than the 40s to maybe some low 50s. In the west, another system coming in and that moves along across the northern tier, but it looks like the weather is going to get a little quiet here in the east and gets active in the west, and they're indicating a fairly deep little low here in southern Colorado for some rain and snow for that part of the state come a week from now, if that holds together. And then if that low runs out to the west, kind of a bit of a pattern adjustment in the upper air. And we're going to take a look at what's going on in the upper layers of the atmosphere as far as the jet stream pattern is concerned. Because yesterday, the models were starting to indicate the trough going back in the west. So I'll just back it up here so you can see the action this weekend in the east. Now, this trough is not nearly as dynamic as what the European model was showing a few days ago. The streams stay pretty separate and progressive. In other words, weather systems are moving along. Here's of course, that endless series of systems coming into the western part of the U.S. And as we move through next week, the models are troughing it in the west again. So you've got a trough in the west, and you've got another ridge building up in the eastern part of the United States. So that could mean for a shot of some warmer weather later next week, depending on where the high goes and whether we get an onshore flow or not. But it looks like it could get pretty warm later next week for a couple of days if that trough is going to be in the west. And in fact, as we go in the longer term, the troughing still wants to stay, dominate in the west, and you still want to have, there is some ridging in the east. Also, we keep getting this, the models trying to develop some kind of upper high in the Atlantic that ridges back westward. Now, whether that happens or not remains to be seen. I think the overall takeaway from this is, we still, we don't have any big cyclones to worry about, certainly, and that you wouldn't expect it so much this time of year anyhow. So we're going to have a lot of these little weather systems moving along, and some of them could be fair rain producers, and also the possibilities with respect to severe weather. Why don't we'll finish off with what could be expected for total precipitation. I'll look in the east first, and we're going to take it out. I'm going to roll this back just a little bit just to get into a time frame that's reasonable. So, models are generating basically about a half an inch or so, a tenth to a half. Amounts are going to be variable depending on any downpours that sit up in here in the east. You can see some heavier rains closer to Lake Erie, and this takes us through Friday. Also some substantial rains in parts of upstate New York. There's some serious, could be another round of some serious flooding. Water levels in upstate New York are very, very high. And in fact, I've been talking to some of my friends that are up in northeastern Pennsylvania, with along the Susquehanna River and the tributaries that feed into that, and a lot of the tributaries coming down out of Lake Ontario. A lot of these waterways are pretty full, and that water is running downstream. So, the water situation with respect to the drought, the past drought, because the drought has pretty much been wiped out in my opinion. These additional rains are going to continue to replenish all the waterways, and actually, in a lot of cases, also having them running, overflowing their banks. With respect to the second rainfall, we'll go to the 24-hour precip, and this is for Sunday into Monday. So it has a pretty good area of a half an inch to an inch and a quarter, some isolated some amounts maybe to an inch and a half, possible Sunday night, late Saturday night into Sunday night, with that weather system that's coming through over the weekend. In the west, we have most of the precipitation is concentrated in the northwest, but I just want to show you, at least for Thursday, there's some pretty decent rains falling through much of the eastern half of Colorado, with some 2-inch plus amounts. And then you have some more rain into the Pacific Northwest. As we move into next week, you can see, most of the activity is going to be from north central California northward, and then on up into the northern Rockies, and even into the northern Plain States, some pockets of significant rainfall there. So a lot to watch and a lot going on. We'll keep you updated. Posts on website, meteorologistjoechaffee.com. Angry Ben is angry because he wants some sunshine and warm weather, and he's getting low clouds and an onshore flow. And you can check his latest weather posts at nycweathernow.com. And you can also check out more on my Facebook page, meteorologistjoechaffee.com. Cioffi is how you spell my last name. And if you're a regular to my YouTube channel, glad you're here. New to my YouTube channel, welcome. Please hit the subscribe button on my channel page. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel absolutely free. Weather videos come at least once a day, and more frequently when storm situations warrant it. So everybody enjoy your Wednesday, and we will talk to you tomorrow.